Callum, how much do you remember about your language lessons in school? I think I did French and then forgot all of it as soon as I walked out of the
I mean,
fucking doors of
I
that
also did
place.
French. I remember some of it, but like I don't remember. I couldn't. If you asked me to speak French to someone, it would be very bad.
Oh
That
yeah,
would be the-
absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's learn a language that neither of us have ever seen before. This is Chants of Sennaar. This is out on Steam, console, Switch. I think it's £17 at the minute. I heard about this. A bunch of people were singing its praises on Twitter at one point, and I initially got put off because. So do you remember 80 Days, the mobile game, like the kind of visual novel mobile
vaguely,
game?
yes.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
So that was maybe a company called Inco, who are now doing the Highland Tale, the game that we're very much looking forward to. Same company.
Highland Song, but
Highland
yes,
Song.
that's the-
Sorry.
Yeah.
They made a game called Heaven's Word, I think is what it was called, which was a game about. It was very cool. It was very ambitious, actually. It was like a third-person adventure, but it was about kind of deciphering an alien language.
I was gonna say, is that the thing about language? Yeah,
Yes.
I remember this now. Yeah.
Yes. So I was very excited for that game, and I played it, and it was, for me anyway, that game was too abstract. It was like it was making you make a lot of logical jumps that I wasn't quite. It didn't sit well in my brain, and I just could never get into it. And I tried, and a lot of people sing praises of that game, just never got there. So this game takes a similar concept, but systematizes it in a way that makes way more sense to the way my brain works. So, for instance, that intro that I showed you is all of the intro you get. This is it. You just kind of wake up in this thing, and you're here. So the way that this works is there's this language that you've never seen before, and a bunch of glyphs that you can hover over and see. Basically, you don't have any idea what they are. If you hit Y, I'm playing this on controller. This is the PC version, by the way. You can see all the gifs that you know about. And at any point, you can go, I think I know what this means. And you can put in a guess as to what that particular word means. So we don't actually know at this point, but I can interact with this lever. And if I pull this lever, it's going to open that door.
My guess would be because there are two symbols that are the same on it. It would be like open door and closed door.
Yeah. Well, so every word is usually like, or every glyph is usually like a word, or like a implicate. Like it's not like a sentence. So you can see that there's two glyphs there. Yeah. So the top one will be probably close, and then if I confirm that, and that will be door because that's the same word on both of them. And then this one will probably be open because I pulled it on that. So we'll just fill out here. So you can see it's got a question mark because they're totally unconfirmed. This is kind of your guess. Know, and then if I go back here, it says like it's in grey, and it's like here's what you think these things mean right now. So okay, that makes sense. Cool. So let's just kind of move on, and then they stay in your journal. I'll also say I don't know. I get the feeling YouTube might completely destroy it. The compression might completely destroy this, but the style of this thing is super cool. It's got like kind of like crosshatch lighting.
Yeah, you can even I can sort of see it on the Discord stream, but it's like not perfect. But I know YouTube, roughly what you're going for. Yeah,
you should look at some high-res pictures of this game, especially later on. Like it's got a really, really nice look to it. There's a button that shows you everything that's interactable at one time, which is always really good, and especially in this game for reasons I'll get to. Like having that button is super handy. Anything that's white, you haven't. With the dot in the middle means you haven't interacted with it yet, so it's something you've missed. So again, if we can look in here, here's based on the previous guess that you have.
Yeah, sure.
So so it's the second and fourth one. So it's this one is open, and then all the rest of them are closed. Close this. Oh no, wait, sorry, no, close that. Close that one. That was right, wasn't it? Or did I get it wrong around? Close, open. Yeah, close, open. Close, open, close. Wait, did I fuck that? Wait. Close, open. Close, open. Close. That's... Okay, I'm going to invert this and make sure. Oh, I bet we've done the glyphs the wrong way around. I bet you that's exactly what's happened. I bet you were just done because I was not thinking about it, and I've just I put the glyphs the wrong way around.
Put the glyphs the wrong way around.
But I will say, like, that is a big part of this. Is like
I mean, that's still you're still logicaling it out.
Totally, and
like,
I've definitely
you still know there are one of two things, and if you've got it wrong, you can just invert it.
Yeah. So the way this game kind of ramps up a lot of the we totally got it the wrong way around. Cool. So I'm not gonna invert them, but I'm just gonna say that this is now this is open, and then this one is close. Okay, and we know what that is.
Yeah.
The way this game ramps up, you're definitely doing things which is like, I think I know what this means, and I'm going to take a guess, and then later on you get, no, you're absolutely wrong, or you had the right idea, but not quite the same. Sure. So the other thing that is difficult in a game like this is like, especially if you're doing a game over, like you're translating a game for not English, right? How the fuck do you deal with?
Yeah.
Like you've said, this is open. Do I turn open to a bunch of the things? Is this door? Is this passage? Is this wall? Like, you know, there's a whole bunch of things. So they get around to all of that in a really smart way that I really like. So once you've progressed a certain amount, or I don't think it's like when you've guessed a certain amount of glyphs, but when you hit when you've seen enough glyphs, you'll get a page where the character will write in the book like some images. So now you can validate some of this. So we're pretty sure this is door. We're pretty sure this is open, and we're pretty sure this is closed. And if you're correct, it'll validate those glyphs, lock them in.
Yeah, so you know for the future.
So now you know for future, and see they're now white.
Understand your interlocutors.
Yeah, right. I haven't. Yeah. So now you know for sure that those are correct. So I'll just quickly get to this next bit because I'll show you kind of a little bit more. But it doesn't matter. The correctness in that page is the association correct rather than is the word correct. So if you'd written gate rather than door, that would still work because you're associating it with the image rather than the word you've guessed. So again here, okay.
No
sure.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So again, you can do things like if you go into your book, it'll show you've got these few glyphs you don't know about, and then the last line of dialogue is at the top right, where you can hit the right stick.
Oh,
and
that's
show
useful. Yeah. So you know you need to like open something.
So it's something open door. And you're like, okay, cool. So like the only thing we can really do is pull this. So let's pull this. Which means that now they can move to the next area. And then I'll join them. I can now do this. And you can talk to them. Something open. So that's a different glyph that says open door.
Yeah.
So that's probably I or me or something along those lines. Some kind of possessive. Which will do that.
Which means the other one that we got might be you.
Yeah, like you or yes. He's gonna go up the stairs. So see the I'll sort this thing. Right, I'll go out. So see the little,
me,
so see the little geometric shapes that are left?
Yeah.
That means you can go back and replay that conversation to kind of like test theories about what you think the glyphs are going to be.
Okay.
So you can run up to them and use them, and it'll replay the conversation and replay the motions. Because actually, some of it as well is like the animations of the characters. So if you look really, really closely, I don't know if it comes across the stream. You can see they were pointing at themselves and pointing at you while it was doing it. So that's better of an implication. So again, in here, so we've got. So okay, so let's see if we can go. So let's see what this one says. So he's pointing at me. So that's probably you. So let's say, for instance,
that would be you.
Open door. So let's open the door. And like door is kind of abstract because it's not really it's kind of a door, but it's like a sluice gate. It's like a kind of general thing.
Opening.
Yeah. So like there's one later on that is like, that's a me. That's probably a me of some kind, right? Because that was the same symbol as last time, so that's probably me. Let's say that. Probably me.
A good idea.
It's
cool,
and it works. That the little addition of the locking in the glyphs makes the whole thing way easier.
Yeah, it's mechanical enough to where it makes sense. Yeah.
And then it's like so we think that's you, so that you close. So I'll close. But that one thing makes it so much more understandable, and the fact that you know that at least your guesses are right. What is that? What was that again? So that's some other. That's what you something. Maybe come, maybe like follow. I don't know. But yeah, this is the kind of point. Is like Heaven's Gate was doing a very, very similar thing, but way more abstract, and there wasn't really a lot of, if I remember correctly anyway, there wasn't a lot of like. You never really knew if you were correct for like long periods of time, and eventually you get to points where you're like, I just have no idea what the fuck's going on. And then, especially in a game like this, you have to, like, context is very important, right? Because like we're only learning here because we've got a bunch of doors and we're going between ourselves and like doing that kind of thing. So wait, that would be you something me. Oh right, yeah. Okay, I remember this now because this is help. I remember because it's like that's basically what the instruction is.
Oh, it's just like I help you, you help.
Yes, exactly. So then that fills that in. So we're just gonna do this. But yeah, like the context of it is really important. So like if you're like an hour later and you realize that you think you've got something wrong, you have to kind of like vaguely remember what was happening when the glyph came.
Yeah.
And it was like difficult and it was all this kind of stuff. Yeah, and the way this has solved a bunch of those problems is really, really smart because it means it can go in any language because language is not a thing, and also the words that you're putting in doesn't matter, so you can say
like
it in whatever, you can use it in whatever language you speak, and it works because you're associating it with images, not with actual words, so it makes it way easier. And there's no there's no like voiced dialogue, like it's all done via this. You end up with. So I'm not hugely through the game. I think I'm like 4 or 5 hours through or something like that. And it does get more complicated, and I've had to look up a guide a couple of times to be like, am I missing a trick here? Am I missing have I missed some mechanic or something like that? But like it does really ramp up at some point. Where it's like, so I'm trying to just get through this to show you the next area because that's kind of where we'll leave it. So now that they can get through here.
But so does the game when you get further on give it like a premise as to like what you're doing and why, or is it
a lot of it seems
is it just we are seeing this in a puzzle, like a logistics
puzzle? There's definitely a world and a story happening around you.
Okay.
And I think the next area will kind of show a bit of that, because obviously you're not dressed entirely the same as everyone else here.
Yeah, I was gonna say you definitely look like an outsider.
And again,
right?
you kind of warped in to this area, right? Like you're like you didn't you woke up in that tomb style thing, so you're like, what the fuck's going on? But you do get stuff like this, which is like, okay, like some world history that you're like, okay, no idea what these glyphs are, but stuff's happening, right? So okay. And there was definitely a moment where like in this area specifically where I'd come back and go, oh, okay, now that all makes sense, and you can start filling in more. So you kind of need to remember that some of this stuff exists as you're walking around. But like this next area is kind of a lot more open. Like you can kind of like, once I get through here, so there's a bunch of this. So this whole area, like there's a bunch of different places to go, right? Like there's a whole like 7 or 8 different locations here that you can kind of go around in. You can see there's stuff happening here. And this is also really interesting. So like these guys, these people you're talking to here, like these have a bunch of glyphs you've kind of seen or like kind of recognize themselves, and you recognize some of those glyphs. If you talk to the people with the swords, that's a whole different...
It's just, you've no idea. Yeah.
So once you go into the journal here, it'll go, oh, there's a whole other language for these people, whatever they are. So you've got 2 languages, and one of the things, like I can say this because I'm a little bit later, one of the things you can do later on is go like, well, there's like what's the famous thing that had the same text in multiple languages that we used to collocate a bunch of
Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone. There's like Rosetta Stone stuff later, which is like the same sentence in 2 languages, so you can associate a glyph you don't know with a glyph you do know, and it'll give you the same meaning, even though it's not quite right, and then you can go from there and make some jumps and all that kind of stuff. So they've like I say, they've systematized quite a complex idea into a lot of really useful, into a much more usable way. And again, you can see like stuff that's even in the world, so like glyphs that are just on buildings and stuff like that. And you're like, okay. I think I'll maybe say, this isn't really a spoiler, but it did kind of make a lot of it more comprehensible for me. This is probably only like an English language thing. I don't know if this will... Well, no, this will work for everyone. The shapes of the glyphs, they're closer to like hieroglyphics than they are just abstract shapes. So like...
Oh, so they're like linked to the action or whatever?
Kind of. So like this symbol here, I'm not going to tell you what the symbol is, but the fact that it's like in kind of a 70% of a box, you find a bunch of other glyphs that are also kind of in a similar box, and then you quickly realize that's like a building. So they're all associated with like types of building, and like you see that maybe it's actually just right here. Oh no, it's not actually right here. But you'll come across like a basically like a direction sign, and like all of the glyphs on the sign are in that box. So you're like, okay, so that infers it's a location or a place or a building or something like that. So yeah, so I'll leave it here because like it just goes from here, and it's
cool idea. Really cool idea.
Super cool idea. I really like the way it looks. This is their first game as far as sorry, they did one game before this, but this is the first game of the scale for sure that they've done. It's very, very cool. It's out on everything right now. Like I say, I think it's PS4 and Xbox One as opposed to next gen, so it's basically on everything. Switch, PC. Chants of Sennaar, super cool. Thanks, Cal.
Thanks, dude.